Welcome to another episode of GooberPasta. Have you heard of the subway? Well, if you have, then you might find this next tale to be quite spooky. I ride the L train to and from work every day. And let me tell you, there are some crazy people that are on this train. But nothing as crazy as I encountered on a Tuesday night in late January. I closed up at work and I went down to the Grand Station where I rode the red line up to my neighborhood. It was about a 30 to 45 minute train ride depending on how fast the trains were moving. And let me tell you, sometimes those things move slow. But since it was so late, there was going to be a lot less people that were going to be on the train, which wasn't anything out of the ordinary. I went down in the station and I got a very eerie feeling as I stepped downstairs. There was nobody on the platform except for one man. I couldn't really make out his face, but he came up to me. I just assumed that he was some kind of homeless person. But he came up and said, "Oh, you have a very nice butt." I said, "Get away from me, you pervert." And I went to the opposite side of the platform and I waited for the train to show up. The man just stood there, kind of staring at me, but I still couldn't really see his face. So I got on the train and I sat down. There wasn't too many other people on the train. There was a guy about 6 feet away from me, and then there was a homeless man who made a little pop tent at the end of the train. Then there was another homeless man who was smoking, which was common. But hey, what are you going to do? I was tired and I wanted to go home. The train began moving. We were heading northbound and we hit the first stop, no problems. Then we hit the second stop. A few more people got on. And then, before we get to the third stop, the train stopped completely. And everything went black. I sat there in pitch darkness. I pulled out my phone and tried to turn on my light, but for some reason it wouldn't turn on. "Hey, what's going on here?" said the homeless man at the end who was in the tent. The other homeless guy went, that's all I could make out because he was too drunk to say any words, but I'm assuming it was in regards to the situation that we were in. All of a sudden I heard the door open that led between each car. I thought it was maybe a conductor or a staff member. I was waiting for an announcement to come on, but nothing. All of a sudden I heard some lady scream out, "Hey, who just touched my butt?" My heart began to beat faster and faster. It's probably one of those homeless guys, some of those perverts. But then I heard the homeless guy go, "My butt!" Somebody had touched his butt too. Oh God, I gotta get out of this car before they come and touch my butt. So I ran to get to the next car, and I went through no problem. But there was nobody on this subway car. I didn't know what happened. All of a sudden I can hear screams coming from the people in the car I was in. "Somebody just touched my butt and I didn't like it." Oh God, there was something on this train and he was touching butts. I was going to have to get out of this subway. I tried opening the emergency access panel, but nothing happened. There was no power. So I ran to the next car. Still, no people. I began to get very frightened. So I ran to the next car and still no people. I went to the door that led to the next car. I had to be getting close to the front of the train. The door wouldn't open. All of a sudden I could hear the door open behind me, and I looked back, and to my horror it was the guy from the platform. "You have a very nice butt. Mind if I touch it?" "No!" I screamed in a high-pitched, shrilly voice. I was no way going to let this man touch my butt. So I began to pry on the handle. I had a backpack on me and I hurled it at the man as hard as I could. It hit him with a thud. "Oh, I like it when my victims play rough." "No, please don't touch my butt. No, anything but touching my butt." I was able to pry open the door of the next subway car, and I ran in, and it was the head car. I ran up to the conductor's car and began banging on the door as loud and frantically as I could. "Hey man, there's a guy out here and he's touching butts. You gotta let me in because he's gonna touch my butt and that's really bad, especially for me," I said. The door slid open and I went in and I shut the door behind me very rapidly. "Oh, thank God," I said. "There's a guy in the car and I don't know what he's doing, but he's a crazy guy and he's touching butts." The conductor turned around and all of a sudden he said, "Ooh, you have a very nice butt." And I said, "Wait a second. You're not the conductor at all. You're the guy touching everybody's butt, and somehow you got up here all magically and shit." "Yes, all magically and shit." To my horror, I felt his cold hand slide across my butt. My God, he was touching my butt. But it wasn't really that bad, because all he did was kind of touch my butt. We looked at each other. I was like, "So what happens next?" "I am the red line butt toucher, and I just touch butts. You're free to go." He crawled out the conductor's window. I left the conductor's car, and the power opened, started up, and the train began to move. I got off on my subway stop and couldn't believe what I went through. It was kind of scary and it's kind of ominous, but it wasn't really that bad. I tell you right now, I don't think I'm ever going to get on this red line again if I'm going to have some creepy guy touching my butt periodically. I'm going to take the bus like a good Chicago commuter. Thank you, bitches.